Hi, this is Sherry, and today I'm working with a product called Creative Paper Clay. I just found this project at Michael's. Basically, it says on the package shape, let it air dry hard and paint. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try. In Potteryland, we actually use paper clay by adding toilet paper to our clay to thicken it up and make it stronger. So I thought this Creative Paper Clay product might be a really neat one to try. So what I did is I made a mold out of the clay because I wanted to make multiples of the same item I have. So everything you see here is what I made from this one 16-ounce package. So the mold is actually created from a plaster rosette that was my great great grandpa's. He was a plaster mason in England, and he came over to the United States and to Chicago. Actually, traveled from Canada to Chicago, Grand Funk Railroad, which is really funny. I like the band Grand Funk, so I think that's kind of cool. And he settled in Chicago at some point and then did a lot of buildings in Chicago. I came across a number of his plaster um, pieces that he had that were architectural leftover pieces. And so I wanted to play with these rosettes because they're really pretty and they're really a cool size. So here's the mold from the rosette, and then here are the pieces I mold it, kind of cast inside of the mold. It's kind of neat because I was actually going to use real plaster, and you have to use pottery clay to do that. And I was going to slip mold them and make and slip cast them. But what I like about this is I'm getting the results a lot faster, and these are really light. So I think that's a cool thing. So you can see how they look, and I did add some seashells. I added a seashell to some of the textures on them because some of the pieces that he had that I came across, I have a really large architectural shell that he had. And so I know he worked with shells a lot. Maybe that was part of downtown Chicago, the motif that they were using at the time in the early 1900s. So that's quite possible. His plaster notebook has been donated to the Plaster Society in Chicago. So his notes and everything are there to help future plasters, which is kind of a dying trade. I mean, houses aren't made of plaster anymore when drywall came along. So it kind of squeezed him out of business a little bit, but they still use it for doing fancy molding and different cornices, and they still use it in architecture. So these are going to be ornaments for each one of my kids for Christmas, so they get a little piece of their heritage, their great great grandpa. I added a hole on them so that they can hang them, and I'm not sure how to paint them. Oh, that's going to be a little tricky one. The ones I have, because they're plaster, they were white, but I know he used a lot of gold. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding them to my house, and I might add them to my kitchen cabinets. I'm definitely going to throw them up next to um, this wonderful piece here so that they're on either side of it. And I think that will be kind of cool up there. And so I'm going to be making lots of them. My goal is to have about 40 of them. So right now I have 8, including the mold. So that's kind of cool. So here's one that I'm working on right now, and this one I just popped out. It's really easy to add an impression onto it and really, really easy to carve into it. I have a dotting tool that I use to make the holes. Look at that. Look how easy that is. And you can also use your carving tools to create indentations and to do different things inside the clay if you want to do that, just like you're doing regular clay. You can also water it down a little bit and create some slip and paste it in there. And I just used a quick little roller. I am working on parchment paper. You can see my space isn't very large. I'm sitting right here in my kitchen. It's not dusty. It's not sticky. I've been working with it all morning. You can barely see it in my hands, which is really cool. And to give you an idea of what it looks like when it comes out of the package, look at this. It's not sticky at all. It's not going to create lots of residual on your work surface. And then give you an idea of how this one, I have it ready to go. You just add a little water to it to smooth it. And then I'm going to take my seashell and I'm going to press into it. And what's cool about when you're doing this is I don't need to have a barrier between my material. Look at that. Look how cool that is. And these little areas here are really, really easy to smooth up and burnish to keep them nice and soft looking so that they're not jagged edges. So yeah, my dotting tools here, you can see pretty easy stuff. So if you haven't tried this and you're wanting to play a little bit with sculpting toys, I think I'm going to use this in my classes because it's not messy and I love it. And when they're dry, they do change color a little bit. They get a little whiter when they're drying, but it's really cool stuff and you can see how hard it is. So it's very nice that way. So if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. And please go on like my videos. And I'm Sherry Stykes at Styx River Art on Etsy. Thanks for your time.